Queen Elizabeth's coffin will be flown to London later today. The Queen's oak coffin will leave Scotland for the first time since her death. It will be driven to Buckingham Palace once the coffin reaches London. On Wednesday, it will be taken on a gun carriage as part of a grand military procession to Westminster Hall. The late monarch will lie in state at the Parliament's compound for 4 straight days to allow the British public to pay their final respects. And on the final day, that is September the 19th, the Queen's coffin will be taken from Westminster Hall to Westminster Abbey for the funeral. World leaders and several top dignitaries are expected to attend the event. The funeral will mark the end of 10 days of national mourning. And for more details, we are now being joined by our correspondent Alex Izat from London. Alex, welcome to the broadcast. Give our viewers a sense of what's expected today as far as the Queen's final journey is concerned. The coffin will be flown to London today, as reports say.
Yes, that's right. So we're expecting that the coffin will be taken at 6 p.m. BST and then flown via an RAF plane to Buckingham Palace, where it will stay until Wednesday at around 5 p.m. and then it will go on the procession down to Westminster Abbey. The procession has only been decided in the last couple of days, so they're expecting thousands of people to come and line the streets to see that procession as it heads to sit in line state for 4 days. And then obviously it will be taken away at 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday before the funeral happens later on the Monday, 6:30 on Monday, and then the funeral will happen later on the Monday at 11. So we are expecting to see the Queen make her final journey down to where she will have her resting place in Windsor, and that will be again at the end of Monday.
Right. Just to follow up to that, Alex, how is London preparing for Sunday for the funeral? It's a security challenge with all the big heads of nations expected to assemble.
Absolutely. It is a huge security challenge, and not just for those VIPs, which we still don't have the list yet. It's not been confirmed by the royal household who will be in attendance. We do know that there are going to be states of heads from all over the world, and including royals as well as dignitaries and potentially celebrities. But on the streets itself, they are trying to prepare to make sure it's as safe as possible for anybody who comes to attend. They believe in the next 4 days, when the Queen is still lying in state in Westminster, that nearly 1 million people will be attending to come and pay their respects. And on the day of the procession, they'll make sure that there is police presence everywhere. So it's going to be a lot of working together, not just Met Police, but also with other organisations, the trains and the tubes. There will maybe some delays, some buses won't be put on. So they're saying to people, if you are coming, be prepared that you might take a lot longer to get to places. Tube stations will be closed, some bus stops won't be in use, and there'll be a lot of diversions in place. Ultimately, it's everywhere so that it's going to be the safest for anyone that's coming into London. And of course, when the actual funeral happens itself, it will happen at Westminster Abbey, which is quite unusual because most of our passing kings and queens have had their final service in St George's in Windsor. Of course, that's where the Queen will end up being buried next to her husband, her parents and her sister. But everything happening in London is to make sure it's the safest for anyone who's coming here to pay their respects.
Right, Alex, thanks so much for all those updates, and thanks for joining us on broadcast at this hour. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.